Whenever you move to a new location, you always want to know, what's it like to really live there? Well, you don't usually find that out until, you live there. So today I want to talk about the top 5 things that I hear all the time from people that are moving here just like you. So stay with me. As I said, these are the top 5 things, and these are the most common questions that I'm asked about when people are looking around or once we're under contract. And if you are looking online and you keep seeing things like NAOS and you think to yourself, what in the world is that? Stick around to the end because we are going to talk about it. Let's get into it right now. So I want to address this one straight off the bat. The question I get is, where does everybody keep all their stuff? Now, this question often comes from a lot of my clients that are coming from the Midwest where there are basements. We do not have basements here in Arizona. At least, let me take that back. We have very few basements. There are a few homes around that do have a basement. They're very hard to find, at least in Scottsdale. So it's not something that I would tell somebody, let's search for a house for a basement, because we will probably not find what you're looking for a house with a basement. So this is why 3-car garages become so important. Either you have 3 cars or you're using that 3rd car stall as your storage. But let me give you a little tip for that too, because people often forget about this. They put all their other things, all their Christmas decorations, Halloween decorations, their decorations for any season or any holiday in that 3rd car garage, in their boxes, in their bins that they've gotten from Costco, thinking, I am going to be so organized. You guys, we get hot. Our garages get hot. I have had clients call me and they say, oh my gosh, I just got into my Halloween or my holiday decorations and all of my candles are melted. So that's my first tip. If you are going to use your 3rd car garage as your storage or your basement, make sure you take out candles and anything that is delicate that could be harmed by the heat. So besides 3rd car garages or big garages, don't worry, our homes do have storage. It's just when you're coming from a basement, either finished or unfinished, people scratch their head a lot and they go, where am I going to put all my stuff? So don't worry, there's a ton of people that live here from the Midwest and they've all figured it out, and I can help you too. But that's just one thing to know. We do not have basements, so it's something to think about. Number 2, how are our schools? Our Scottsdale school system is great. We have got A+ rated schools here in Scottsdale. The thing that people are not used to when they move here is oftentimes in other states, you have to make sure that where you buy a home, you are in the district that you want your kids to go to. We are different. We have what we call open enrollment for our public school system. So as long as that school has space, your child can go there. Now, the caveat to that is that there are no buses that are going to come pick your kids up. So you have to be okay that you are going to be driving them to and from school. But as long as there is space, your child can go to just about any public school in Scottsdale that you would like them to go to. In addition, we've got some phenomenal charter schools and private schools as well as options. We've got the Basis Charter School, which is a phenomenal school for those kids that are very advanced in math, in science, in all of those things that maybe a regular public school or even some of the other charter schools, maybe they don't focus on as much. It's a very specific school, but I know people who send their kids there, and for that child, it is a great option. And I think that's one of the benefits here, is that because it is so open and there's so much diversity in the education here, you really can pick and choose the school that is right for your child. So it does take a little bit of education. It does take a little time to make sure that you're looking at all of those options, but they're all there for you, which is phenomenal. Number 3, termites. This one usually comes up when we get the seller's disclosure, which usually happens either right before you want to make an offer or right after your offer has been accepted. So our saying here in Arizona as real estate agents is your home either has termites or will have termites. Our termites here are very different. They're what we consider subterranean termites. We do not have to move out of the house, tent the home to have the exterminator come. We get treated every month. Usually some people treat more, some people treat less, but they're subterranean. So they can treat on the exterior of the home and really deter the termite activity. They are not I'm going to take that back. They are considered wood destroying organisms. However, it would take them a long time, like years, for them to really make some significant damage to the wood in your home to make it crumble like the cartoons show. Number 4, our wildlife. This one too often comes up when you get that seller's disclosure. The reason being is that one of the questions on that disclosure is, have you seen any specific types of animals on your property or in your yard? And most people have to say yes. They've seen something. They've seen a snake. Ooh. They've seen a scorpion. They've seen a tarantula, spiders. They've seen a myriad of things. So this is something that I often talk to people about. Again, scorpions happen here in the desert. They do. There are ways to be cautious around them. There are ways to treat, and you can seal your home so that you have less or almost none. I mean, my homes have been sealed and I don't have any scorpions in my home. Have I had them? Yes. I'm not going to say that I haven't. I have. I don't really know anybody that I know of that has never had a scorpion in their home, but it is not infested. It is not rampant with scorpions. So I don't want to scare anybody, but it is something to know about. So I know these things can seem really scary and, well, downright gross, if I'm being honest. I am so afraid of snakes. I cannot watch them on television. And if they're in a magazine, I can't touch the page. I've got to touch the corner of the page. To say that I'm afraid of snakes is like the understatement of the world. So I have lived in the desert now since 2001. I have had them in my yard. I've never had one in my house, but they have been in my yard. There are ways to take care of them. You call the fire department, they will relocate them for you. So I don't want people to be afraid. I am deathly afraid of snakes. And I've survived, and I've lived, and I've walked in so many different areas in the desert, and I really haven't seen them out there. So I don't want people to be afraid of them. Be afraid. Be afraid, but I don't want you to think that you can't do it, because you can. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Some of the other wildlife that you may hear people talk about are javelinas, bobcats, and mountain lions. Now, I'm gonna cut right to the chase of the mountain lions, because where I live in North Scottsdale, I'm at the base of the McDowell Mountains, and I hear people all the time talk about, oh my gosh, there's mountain lions. I can tell you honestly, I have talked to the people at the Sonoran Conservancy, and I think that they know every single animal up there. They've counted them. They know how many live up there. I really think that the last time I spoke to them, there were only 2 mountain lions. So it is not all over the place. So regarding our wildlife, these are just things you have to know going in if you're going to move to Scottsdale. Now, in different parts of the Scottsdale area, you will have different animals, and you will have more animals if you're going to live down closer to McCormick Ranch and more central Scottsdale. So all of these things are just good information. It's just for you to be aware of. But they are here. They're not going away. Different parts of Scottsdale have different animals just because the environment is different. Things have been built longer or shorter. And so if you're going to be down more in central Scottsdale, you're probably not going to be dealing with as many bobcats, maybe a few coyotes. They do have some snakes, not as many as in North Scottsdale. So North Scottsdale is where you're going to see more bobcats, definitely coyotes, things like that. You will have more in North Scottsdale. It's just less populated. There's more open space and the mountains. Oh yes, and our javelina. I've talked about this in another video. These are relatives of the pig. People look at them and some people think, oh my gosh, they're so cute. We actually have children's books about them, the 3 Little Javelinas, which is just like the 3 Little Pigs. My kids, I can tell you, they love it. They are blind as a bat. They stink to high heaven. They come out at night. Please don't put pumpkins out. They will eat your pumpkins. They will eat your flowers. They are really pesky animals. For the most part, they're not scary. The only time that I've ever known them to be aggressive is if you come between them and their babies. Again, the big thing to know is if you're going to be in North Scottsdale, please don't have an outside cat. If you have an outside cat, start to transition that cat to learning to live inside, because having an outside cat, it's very hard unless your cat is a prize fighter. I've seen people move into North Scottsdale, and unfortunately, next thing I know, I see missing cat. We have more bobcats, coyotes, things that actually will prey on these cats. So make sure your cat is inside. protect your animals. The only other thing that I would say is if you've got small dogs, make sure that you watch those when they're outside. And it's not that the bobcats or maybe coyotes are going to come after them, but we have big owls. These owls have been known to kind of swoop down, pick up these small dogs and take them. So just things to be aware of. It's nothing scary. I could tell you again that I've lived here since 2001. I have seen every one of the animals I just talked about, and I am alive and kicking. And I've not had anything bad happen. Okay, we're down to number 5. We've got washes, flood zones, and NAOS. Remember we talked about this at the beginning, the old NAOS. We're gonna get to that. So we have a lot of washes that run through our land up here in North Scottsdale. Down in South Scottsdale and in Central Scottsdale, they do too. They're just diverted a little bit differently because it's been developed a lot longer than in North Scottsdale. So oftentimes, as soon as people hear washes and flood zones, they get a little bit panicked because many people are coming from other areas of the country that have a lot of natural disasters. So we really do not have a lot of natural disasters. When we talk about flood zones, it's based upon FEMA's map. So we've got 100-year flood zones and 500-year flood zones. What does this mean to you as a homeowner? What it means is that there are certain areas in our Scottsdale area that you will, if you are getting a loan on your home, be required to have flood insurance. So it's very important to know where these are. It's important to make sure that you know this before you get to the end of your loan, because I will tell you it will creep up. And if you didn't know, next thing you know, you've got a new charge or a new fee that you didn't know about that now you've got a budget for. So the next question I always get is, well, do these washes run? Is there water in them? Well, I've talked about this in another video as well. We have 330 days of sunshine. So we don't get a lot of rain, but we do get rain. And sometimes when we get rain, we get an awful lot in a short period of time. That is when you can see some of these washes run. And it's not, there are certain areas like up in Cave Creek that you will see those washes run. They run through streets. We've got a stupid motorist law that if you drive through and you get stuck, you will get some very big fines because the rescue people have to come and take you out of those when they've got barricades that say clearly, do not go through this wash. In Scottsdale, we don't have as many like that. There are a few areas, but it's really just be aware of your surroundings and what is around your property. I can tell you that I have lived on a wash in all the homes that I have lived here in Arizona, in Scottsdale. I've never had a wash running behind my house, even though I technically have a wash behind my house. So I love it because of the open space, and I like that the wildlife that we just talked about. I like all that behind my house, but it's just something to be aware of. And on that note, one other thing, just because there's a wash behind your house, like I just said I have at mine, does not mean that you've got to have flood insurance. I've never had to have flood insurance on my house, and I've had a wash behind my house all the time. So don't worry if you are looking and you see, oh my gosh, there's a wash, that means I'm gonna have flood insurance, I'm gonna have to pay more money. Not always. So it's very good to make sure that you are looking at the right things and getting the right information. Okay, and now the NAOS. What in the world does that stand for? That stands for a natural area open space. City of Scottsdale has designated areas that it's required for us to have a natural area open space so that we are not so dense. Now, again, down in the Central and South Scottsdale, you will not see as many areas of natural area open space, whereas up in North Scottsdale, what you will see is a lot of natural area open space. In the subdivisions, in these master plan communities, oftentimes these washes that I was just talking about are those designated natural area open spaces. However, when you get into some of the other communities that have large building envelopes where people are building their custom homes, they will have a building envelope, and outside of that building envelope would be considered a natural area open space. Even though the lot, say, is 2 acres, you've got your building envelope, which is smaller than that. Everything outside of that is then natural area open space and cannot be disturbed. Now, if you are on a lot, say it's not 2 acres, it's a little bit smaller, but you do still have to have designated natural area open space, there is an opportunity to sometimes swap it. So if you're building a home and you want the floor plan to fit just right on the lot, and maybe a natural area open space is in one section, there is a possibility of you being able to swap it somewhere else. So again, these are all great things for you to know and just be aware of, and make sure that whoever it is that you're working with understands all of this stuff too. So I hope all this helped and answered some of those questions. I know you're gonna have more, so don't forget, Email, call, text me, post a comment down below, share this with somebody if you think it might be helpful, and as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.